Sandiaga asked Kuta authorities to delay charging a fee to enter the iconic Kuta beach. Jokowi says Indonesia will not be sanctioned by FIFA for the deadly stampede at the Malang soccer match. Stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Welcome to the latest news from Indonesia and Bali. This is October 10th, 2022, and my name is Bruce. And the weather is not good. Right now it is all right, but it has been raining here and all over the island. We have floods and landslides and a couple of stories on flooding and what's happening because of this. I didn't do any of the stories about landslides, but there's been landslides in Klungkung and around in other parts of the island. People being washed away. A lot of work for the disaster people. Right now, it is 31 degrees and 73% humidity, and the wind speed is 8.9 kilometers per hour. And I hope the weather is better wherever you are. And if you are on the island, I hope you're going to get some sun while you're here if you are visiting. And if you're a long-term resident of Bali or Lombok or any of the other islands, I hope the weather is all right for you and that it is not causing any big problems. Let's take a look at the numbers. And what about the numbers today? There are no numbers, sorry. The government website that I get my numbers from for each video has no numbers. Why? I don't know. They have a lot of photos of flooding all over Indonesia and rescue operations as well, but no numbers. So maybe this is a case of no news is good news. Anyway, most people think that the COVID situation is over and that there is no pandemic. And so no numbers, let's get on with it. Okay, let's get started. Sandiaga asked to delay Kuta entrance rules to pay retribution. So tourists entering Kuta Beach are planned to be charged a fee. And I've discussed this, I don't know how many videos ago. It's not a popular decision. And Sandiaga has asked that it be postponed until the end of the year. Sandiaga is worried that a fee will make Kuta Beach deserted. And I know a number of people have said, I'm not going if I have to pay. Not with the way things are there, people pestering you and this and that. Sandiaga said, maybe we consider 2 or 3 years, and we want it to become quality and sustainable with better approaches, sustainable tourism products. According to his view, Bali is just starting up, and he's looking at data from the level of tourist visits to Kuta Beach up until the end of December. So he said, look, let us get the data in from January to December and see what the situation is like in Kuta Beach. And then let's talk about putting a fee on, imposing a fee on tourists who want to come in. And he said, we don't want to turn away tourists, especially domestic tourists, because Kuta Beach is very popular with them. In a strange comparison, he said that a country that's successful with quality tourism is Bhutan. And Bhutan is aggressively increasing the number of visits and the length of stay of those visits. And he wants to see the same thing being done here. But Bhutan charges some major money to come and visit. And so, yeah, you're going to get quality because backpackers are not going to pay those high fees. Let's be real about this. Bali is mass tourism. It's been mass tourism for a number of years. And when you're building places with government approval to bring in 10,000 people, pack in 10,000 people like at Atlas Beach, or I don't know how many people go into Fins. We're not talking about quality tourism here. We're talking about numbers. They want numbers. They want people here spending money. If they're going to party, yeah, they're going to party. You're going to stick 10,000 people in, stick 10,000 people in one spot. More the better. That has been the way it has been here for quite a while now, and I don't see it changing other than lip service that's being given here and there about quality tourism and sustainable tourism. But let's build. And so, will the Kuta authorities be listening to Sandiaga and hold off on the fee? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And what about the Malang tragedy? Let's do an update on that. Deadly Kanjuruhan incident. Jokowi claims no sanction imposed on Indonesia by FIFA. So the president said FIFA is not going to impose any sanctions on Indonesia, regardless of 130 people being killed in the stampede and hundreds more injured. The last report I saw was 543, I think. The president sent Minister Eric Thohir to meet the FIFA president to consult about the issue. And the president said, Alhamdulillah, FIFA doesn't impose sanctions to Indonesian football. And together with FIFA, the government would form a team for Indonesian football transformation and would have an office in Indonesia during the process. The president continued that aside from FIFA, the Asia Football Confederation, AFC, will also help the Indonesian government build high security standard stadiums. In addition, both football organizations would help Indonesia to formulate standard security procedures, which will be executed by the police according to international security standards. Additionally, this information will be disseminated and discussions will be held with all of the Indonesian football clubs, including supporter representatives for input and opinion, as well as building a commitment together. And FIFA and AFC are going to assist manage schedules to calculate the risk potential. Wow, it's terrible when you've got to organize sports events by risk potential. Jokowi said the FIFA president will visit Indonesia in October or November to provide assistance and discuss this with the government. And ministers have been talking about things, right? A lot of ministers at work this week and work and study from home in Bali during G20. This is the coordinating minister for maritime affairs and investments, Pak Luhut. He has called on the province of Bali to take decisive steps in limiting public mobility during the upcoming international summit. What kind of decisive steps? He wants kids to go back to learning from home, and he wants people to work from home. Why? In order to limit public mobility. That's why he doesn't want people wandering around, motorcycles, cars, buses, walking. Keep the people at home so they don't bother all of the rich, important people. Minister Luhut said, Governor Koster, please help by implementing online schooling and the work from home policies. I think this represents no problem because during COVID-19 pandemic, we all became accustomed to online work and schooling, both of which will help Indonesia host the G20 summit. Online schooling, many educators in Indonesia realize what a joke that was. If you're going to have the kids do online schooling, you might as well keep them home for the week. Let them have a vacation time. Just tell them they can't go out and bother the foreigners here. Work from home? Most people would probably appreciate that. Pak Luhut also called on provincial leaders to facilitate the ability of local drivers to convert to operating electric vehicles. He said the participation of local drivers in hosting G20 Summit is critical to permit the public to enjoy the benefits of this event. How is that happening? I don't get a connection here at all. If somebody does, leave a comment. I would like to be enlightened. Pak Luhut also requested that all participating stakeholders in the G20 Summit finalize and perfect their planning scenarios. These preparations include providing adequate VVIP parking facilities for aircraft at Bali's airport, coordinating takeoff and landing spots for the VVIP aircraft, and preparing for the intermittent closing of the airport to facilitate security requirements for the VVIP aircraft movement. And Pak Luhut warned that flight facilities would be altered or reduced during the summit, despite what some people are saying online. He said, I want aviation area to be thoroughly checked. Aircraft handling is very important. Starting now, we must ask what planes national delegations are planning to bring so we can make the necessary preparations. Pak Luhut explained that steps are underway to smooth the procedures, the processing procedures at the airport for immigration, customs, and quarantine. He said new automated data collection procedures must be tested to ensure smooth processing. He also called for additional staffing and tools to support quarantine operations. Well, for this, I asked the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, and the Ministry of Health to work together hand in hand and don't wait for each other to get started. He said, do it. So they got their marching orders. And what about the G20 delegation? G20 delegation of Bali gets visa-free facilities. Minister of Law and Human Rights, Yasona Lawley, said delegates to the G20 meeting in Bali would be granted visa-free after previously finding long lines at the VOA payment booth at the airport. Apparently, the acting director general of immigration was at the airport doing a check and saw long lines of tourists waiting to pay for their visa on arrival. And well, you don't want the VVIPs doing that, so I'm just going to let them in for free. The minister said VOA must be paid. We cooperate with BRI Bank. Now, this is what we'll say in the near future. We've had a meeting with the coordinating minister, so the provisions concerning payments from abroad, I talked about this the other day, so there's no need to pay cash here. You can do it from outside. And this has already got a circular out about this, as I talked about in the last video, but nobody knows how to do it because there's been no instructions. And why? Because the payment regulation system is still under the authority of the Ministry of Finance. And so the Minister of Law and Human Rights said that she hopes that there will be no more queues at the airport and that the payment system will be improved so that people can pay using a credit card or money transfers or however they're going to do it. She said, just do it outside. You won't have to be waiting then. And what about the tourists who are not VVIPs? What's happening with them? The arrival of passengers from overseas continues to increase at Ngurah Airport. And so international arrivals were up in September 6% over August. The leading countries, as I mentioned the other day, Australia, Singapore, and Malaysia. September had 624,709 foreign travelers. According to the Airport Managing Authority, the increase is influenced by the reoperation of international routes at Bali Airport. Last September, there were two new routes, namely Batik Air Malaysia from Perth to Denpasar and China Air from Taipei to Denpasar. During the January to September period, 2,485,551 foreigners came in through the airport. Bali Airport is served by 22 international flight routes to 13 countries and served by 25 airlines. Airport authorities are optimistic that the airport will reach 10 million visitors in 2022. I'm assuming they mean domestic as well. And why? Well, you're going to get a lot of people coming in at G20, and then we've got the Christmas and New Year's holidays, always a big time in Bali. And so they're expecting a lot of people to be coming in. Okay, I just saw this when I had to do this. Lavish lavatories for Bali visitors. Pak Sandiaga said there's going to be 1,000 lavish bathrooms, luxury bathrooms, spread around Indonesia's tourist destinations. The Luxury Toilet Initiative was recently inaugurated via a pilot project at the Barawa, a parking lot for Barawa Beach in North Kuta. In realizing the project, the Tourism Ministry is collaborating with Toilet Untuk Negeri. Access to the pilot luxury tourist on Barawa Beach, 5,000 rupiahs, and you get in, and you use a special storage value card. I don't know where you get those cards, but the toilet is already working, according to this article. It's been working for a while. If you've used the luxury toilet, it's in Canggu. Where else? Dr. Sandiaga says his digital nomads, those digital nomads that he loves, said it's an ideal place having a luxury toilet for the digital nomads in the Canggu area. This is just too funny to be not true. The Barawa toilet is the prototype for a nationwide program to create 1,000 high-quality tourists in leading tourist destinations such as Bali, Lake Toba, Mandalika, Kupang, and it doesn't say here, but I'm guessing Labuan Bajo as well. The measure of progress and quality in many tourism villages is the quality of tourist toilet facilities available to tourists, according to Pak Sandiaga. And I thought it was culture. The village chief of Barawa, Ikut Riana, told the press that Brow Beach has been a designated tourism destination since 2005 and that the public relations and local team proudly created the prototype toilets for Degree. In the future, we hope to increase the number of tourists visiting Brow Beach, he said. So, toilets for the country. And I was talking about rain the other day, and it is raining, raining, raining. It looks like the rainy season has come early this year. Denpasar floods as high as adults' chest, Legian as high as knees. So, it was raining in Denpasar and Badu earlier on Saturday morning, and rained for 5 hours. The heavy rain caused floodings. In Denpasar, the worst flooding occurred in Jalan Pulau Demak, and water was up to people's chest. Houses were flooded. Cars were submerged. Motorcycles were submerged. Wow, it was a mess. And in Legian and Kuta, water was up to the knees, not quite as bad. And you saw a picture here of the tourists. There, the water is only ankle high. Unfortunately, the rainy season is coming, and I, have been telling people, oh, October is such a great month. The weather is so good. Well, it usually is. Are we going to start the rainy season now in October and then go until when did we end the rainy season this year? Was it May? So we're getting shorter and shorter. We need rain, but I love the sun. And here's some more on the weather. Flood hits Seminyak. SAR team evacuates dozens of foreign tourists. Look at the image. Denpasar Search and Rescue Office, Basarnas, that's what they're called, Basarnas, and a joint search and rescue team SAR evacuated international and domestic tourists from the Seminyak area. According to reports, all evacuated flood victims are safe and in good condition. The flood has started to recede. Earlier, the joint SAR team evacuated a total number of 33 tourists, consisting of 23 foreigners and 10 Indonesian citizens. Out of the 23 foreigners, 6 were children under the age of 5. The heavy rains, which have fallen since Friday, resulted in floodings at several locations, according to the authorities. On Saturday morning, the office was asked to help evacuate several tourists trapped by floodwaters from 3 villas in Seminyak. So they got stuck in their villas. The height of the floodwaters was about 1 to 1.5 meters. Okay, so wow, that's pretty high. Hence, we immediately deployed a team to the location using rubber boats to carry out the evacuation. He added that in addition to evacuating tourists from the Seminyak area, his party also evacuated residents affected by floods from other locations such as Pura Demak and Bung Tomo Street in Denpasar, and I talked about that in a different segment. Meanwhile, the Joint SAR team evacuated 19 residents from Pura Demak Street and another 10 residents from a gang in that area. Supartana from the rescue team said regarding the SAR operation on Bung Tomo 10th Street, we got a report that one resident was swept away by the stream, and after we dispatched a rescue team and conducted a search operation, the victim was found dead in the river at approximately 500 meters from the incident. Ready for medical tourism. Premier Bintaro Hospital has robot cut spine surgery time. Wow. So Bali is getting ready to become a medical tourism center, and they're going to be working in conjunction with Premier Bintaro Hospital, who has some things that hospitals here in Bali don't that will be useful for attracting tourists. And one of the things they have is a robot. The robot's name is Robin for Robot Bintaro. R-O from robot and B-I-N from Bintaro, Robin. Where's Batman? The robot helps orthopedic surgeons specializing in the spine. When not supported by robot, the operation time can take up to 8 hours. But with the robot helping, it takes 2 hours. The CEO of Premier Bintaro Hospital said that Robin uses, don't want to call Robin robot, uses artificial intelligence where he can map where screws and nuts will be placed on the spine. Previously, this was done by a doctor, and now it's going to be done by Robin, and he will keep count of everything and tell you where to put them. Wow, okay, that's pretty impressive. And the patient's condition data will be entered in the Robin system, and he'll provide information and help install the nuts on the spine. And the accuracy rate is up to 99%. 100% would be better, but 99%, okay. And what about medical tourism? Medical tourism here, according to this article, is for tourists who seek treatment at the same time as having a vacation. The CEO said, this government is very much in agreement with health tourism. So how can Indonesians enjoy health services in a cozy place while healing? Usually wealthy Indonesians, they're out of the country for this. And so Indonesia is not only looking at international tourists, but keeping domestic people here to get operations. And so the CEO said not only healing for the body, but also the mind. People never get tired of coming to Bali, she said. She said, surely the target is not only Bali's people, but also people who come from outside the island of Bali, domestic people, and people who come from other countries. Premier Bintaro Hospital receives BPJS services with health tourism specialties, namely sports clinics, orthopedics, vascular surgery, skin and laser centers, and stroke centers. She said the concept of medical tourism will be applied so that when the patient arrives, they will be picked up at the airport, for example, taken in a vehicle with a special team, will take them to the hospital, and the family can either stay in the hospital, or if they don't want, they can find accommodations and the hospital will help provide for that for them. How much longer before we get medical tourism here? Not too much longer, I hope. That is it for today. Singaraja Snippets coming up in a day or two. There is a new cooking video on my wife's channel, and you can find it right up here. And take a look. It's about, well, it's called Samur Kring, and she says it's like bulgogi in Korea, but who knows? I don't know. It does taste kind of like the bulgogi that we used to be able to get here, the packaged bulgogi that they sold at Carrefour when Carrefour was here. Does it taste like the bulgogi from a Korean restaurant? I don't know. It's been 30 years since I've been in a Korean restaurant, and so I don't really remember how bulgogi tastes that way. But take a look. Always interesting to see what she's cooking, and of course you can learn how to cook by watching the videos easily enough. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you on Thursday.